The room went completely silent when Elena placed her wedding ring on the dinner table. She didn't scream. She didn't slap anyone. She didn't even look at the woman sitting beside her husband. She simply wiped the tears from her face, picked up her handbag, and walked toward the door. Behind her, her husband Daniel sat frozen, convinced that she would eventually come back, just as she always had. He had no idea that the woman walking away that night was taking something far more valuable than her clothes. She was taking away the loyalty, patience, reputation, and love that had built his entire life. If you believe that kindness deserves respect, that people deserve second chances, and that sometimes walking away is stronger than fighting, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this story, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories. Elena had been married to Daniel for 11 years. When they first met, Daniel was not the powerful businessman everyone admired. He was a young man with ambition, a second-hand car, and a small office he could barely afford. Elena had stood beside him through every difficult year. She helped him prepare presentations late into the night, encouraged him when investors rejected his ideas, and even sold the jewelry her mother had left her so Daniel could keep his company alive during its first major crisis. She never asked for recognition. She believed marriage meant building something together, not keeping score. And slowly, Daniel became successful. His little company turned into a respected business, their modest apartment became a beautiful mansion, and the man who once needed Elena's encouragement began receiving invitations from people who had never known his name before. But success changed Daniel in ways Elena didn't notice at first. He began coming home late. His phone was always face down. He started attending business dinners without her and became strangely irritated whenever she asked simple questions. Elena tried to convince herself that he was simply under pressure. She remembered the man he had been and chose to believe in him. Then one evening, while Daniel was in the shower, his phone lit up on the kitchen counter. Elena wasn't searching through it. She wasn't trying to invade his privacy. But the message appeared clearly on the screen. Last night was unforgettable. I can't wait until she finally leaves you. Elena felt as though the floor had disappeared beneath her feet. She read the message again and again, hoping she had misunderstood it. She didn't confront Daniel that night. Instead, she quietly began paying attention. She noticed the name attached to the messages, Victoria, a woman who worked closely with Daniel and had recently become a regular guest at his private business dinners. Elena discovered hotel reservations, expensive gifts charged to company accounts, and photographs that confirmed what her heart already knew. Her husband had not made one mistake. He had been living another life behind her back. For days, Elena cried alone. She wanted to confront Victoria. She imagined walking into the office and exposing everything. She imagined destroying the woman who had entered her marriage. But one night, looking at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, Elena realized something painful. Victoria had not made the vows. Daniel had. Victoria had not promised to love, honor, and protect her. Daniel had. Elena suddenly understood that she was fighting the wrong person. So she had a decision that shocked everyone. She would not fight his mistress. Instead, she quietly gathered the documents she needed. She contacted a lawyer, opened an account in her own name, and carefully separated the things she had contributed to their shared life from the things Daniel had built independently. She didn't threaten him. She didn't announce her plans. She simply became calm. The following Friday, Daniel invited Elena to an elegant family dinner. Victoria was there, too, introduced as an important business associate. Daniel expected Elena to smile politely and pretend everything was normal. Instead, Elena walked into the room wearing a simple red gown, her eyes swollen from tears, but her posture stronger than it had ever been. Everyone noticed the tension. Daniel tried to act confident. Victoria looked almost amused. Then Elena quietly placed a folder on the table. Inside were copies of financial records, messages, hotel receipts, and evidence showing that Daniel had been using company funds to finance his secret relationship. Daniel's face changed. Elena didn't accuse him loudly. She simply told him that she was leaving. She said she had spent 11 years protecting his dreams, but she would no longer sacrifice her dignity to protect his lies. Then she removed her wedding ring and placed it beside the folder. Daniel laughed nervously at first. He believed she was bluffing. He told her she would regret leaving. He reminded her that everything they had was because of him. Elena looked at him for the last time and calmly answered that she had never needed his money as much as he had needed her loyalty. Then she walked away. What Daniel didn't know was that the documents Elena had discovered contained more than proof of his affair. His secret spending had triggered an internal investigation. Several investors were already questioning unexplained company expenses, and one major partner was preparing to withdraw. Within weeks, Daniel's carefully constructed image began collapsing. Victoria disappeared when the money stopped flowing. His business partners demanded answers. His employees lost confidence. His luxurious lifestyle began disappearing piece by piece. The mansion was sold, expensive cars were returned, and the man who once entered rooms surrounded by admiration suddenly found himself sitting alone in a nearly empty office. Daniel finally understood what he had lost. It wasn't just his marriage. It was the woman who had believed in him before anyone else did. Meanwhile, Elena started over. She rented a small apartment, found work with a company that valued her skills, and slowly rebuilt her confidence. The first months were difficult. There were nights when loneliness overwhelmed her and mornings when she questioned whether walking away had been the right choice. But every time doubt appeared, she remembered the woman she had been before Daniel's betrayal, the woman who had dreams of her own. 1 year later, Elena stood in front of a small group of young entrepreneurs speaking about resilience and starting again. She wasn't rich like before. She didn't live in a mansion. But she smiled more honestly than she had in years. Then she received a message from Daniel. He apologized. He said he had lost everything and finally understood her value. He asked if they could meet. Elena stared at the message for a long time. She didn't hate him anymore. That was her greatest victory. She simply replied that she hoped he found peace, but she had already found hers. And she put her phone away. Elena finally understood that walking away wasn't weakness. Sometimes walking away is the loudest answer you can give to betrayal. She hadn't destroyed Daniel's life. His own choices had done that. She had simply stopped carrying the weight of consequences that belonged to him. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who needs strength today, and subscribe for more stories about courage, healing, and second chances. And before the story ends, tell us in the comments, would you have stayed and fought for the marriage, or would you have walked away like Elena? Because sometimes the strongest woman in the room isn't the one who screams the loudest. She's the one who quietly chooses herself, closes the door, and never looks back.